Hello and good evening, everybody. Hopefully you can hear me okay. Welcome and thank you so much for joining us for this evening's digital open evening event. I'm hoping you'll be able to see the screen right now and hopefully my face as well. If I move through the slides and you're unable to see what's coming up on the screen, please do utilise that chat function to let us know and we'll make sure that we can make any changes as possible. First of all, I just wanted to start by introducing myself and letting you know who I am. So I'm Hannah and I'm the UK Student Recruitment Manager here at the University of Leicester. I was actually also a student here myself and I came to study here about 12 years ago. And it's an absolute pleasure that I'm joined here for this evening's session by not myself trying to talk about my experience as a student, but three actual current students who are going to introduce themselves later. And you're going to have the opportunity to hear from them about their student life and their student experiences. But I first of all wanted to take the time to say it's absolutely excellent to have you. It's a pleasure that you're joining us for this session to hopefully find out a little bit more as a part of the overall part of the digital open evening while you're conducting a bit of research about what university is right for you. And as a part of all the other sessions that you're hopefully going to be joining this evening, you're working towards really discovering whether the University of Leicester is right for you, the current students you're going to be speaking to, and myself all those years ago. So I'm going to start by giving you a little bit of a brief introduction to the University of Leicester. It might be your very first time that you're hearing from us. You might be in contact with us and attending different sessions. You might have even come to visit us on campus and you're just doing a little bit more research by taking part this evening. So I want to make sure that I cover some core facts that when you leave this session, you're hearing more generally about the university and then you're getting your opportunity in our Q&A part of this session to ask any questions that you would like to our current students. So hopefully my colleague will be able to post some little nudges into the chat function where you can see what type of questions you might want to be asking, whether that's to somebody specifically, whether that's more general that you want to be asked, and we'll utilise the session to answer some of those questions. So as we make a little bit of a start, for those of you that are unaware of the University of Leicester's award-winning accolades, you'll be able to see those on the screen at the moment. And unsurprisingly, we're extremely proud that we have been awarded by the Daily Mail University of the Year for this year. But it doesn't actually stop there, that we've also actually experienced shortlisting for 2 other awards for University of the Year, hopefully indicating and evidencing our reputation as an institution and our commitment to serving our students. And that's further evidenced by our Teaching Excellence Framework Awards and our Research Excellence Framework accolades, evidencing that we not only are really committed to really high quality teaching, but also the areas that we're conducting our expertise in a research field and informing our teaching, overall contributing towards our student satisfaction. And we're really proud of that accolade for 2024 NSS, demonstrating that what we do as an institution is really trying to serve our student body. You'll be able to find out more on a subject level, hopefully, as you attend some subject sessions this evening. But overall, these are some examples of why we classify and constitute as an award-winning institution. Now, here at University of Leicester, we really appreciate that when students come to experience 3, 4, 5 or maybe 6 years of study here with us at the University of Leicester, that we really do become your new home, whether you're somebody who for the very first time is moving away from home, or you're deciding to commute and come and experience your studies here at the University of Leicester. We really care about you and we're communicating that you matter to us. And you can see on the screen at the moment some of the examples of what that looks like in terms of support, whether it's through more of your academic side of your studies, through to some of our central services, whether that's your time at the university, through to what comes in terms of your next steps afterwards through our career service commitment. We're also aware of some of the financial aid that students really benefit from when they come to study at the university, so typically in the form of bursaries and scholarships. We also have a range of financial support that you'd be able to explore slightly further online. And the other part of really supporting you and making sure that you matter is through our guaranteed accommodation that we have available. It's for you to basically make the most of your time as a university student, and hopefully some of our students will talk a little bit more about their experience of choosing what they constituted as their new home too. So another thing that I wanted to communicate a little bit further was that we really benefit the University of Leicester of being not too far from our city centre. So it's not just the experience of our campus, but it gets to basically mean that you get to explore loads of our city as well. And there's some really cool facts about the university in relation to the city, that we've got such an ethnically diverse staff and student community body, but that's also so heavily reflected by the city itself, as we're one of the most ethnically diverse cities in the UK. There's actually a really cool fact that a student once shared with me, that you can eat in a restaurant for over 3 weeks, a different cuisine back to back before you've actually got to start to repeat that cuisine. So if you want somewhere that's globally diverse and it's giving you the opportunity to learn more about yourself, different cultures, different societies and different people, then the University of Leicester's definitely got that as one of your areas to explore. And you can see a few more bits of that information on the slide at the moment. But for those who obviously move away from home, or have got friends and family that have moved away, maybe for their university experiences, our centrally located geography also gives you the opportunity for really easy commutable distances via train, a variety of different public transport, but also via road as well, for you to keep in touch and get to go and visit other people as well. Now, moving on to my final slide before we're going to go and speak to students a little bit more and get to hear from them around our understanding as an institution that the majority of people who do come to university, they come with the intention of a professional motivation or wanting to really raise their aspirations, reach their aspirations and think about their future employability. And that's something that we have really support through with our dedicated on-campus careers service, but also we have the embedded components within our actual teaching, ensuring that a lot of our curriculum is industry informed, but not just on the specific relation to the course that you're doing, but the events that we run, our dedicated one-to-one opportunities around CV support, all the way through your degree at the University of Leicester, but also we follow that up with continuing that support once you've graduated, which I hope really echoes to the people that are obviously in this session and wanting to find out a bit more about our university. That our support doesn't just end when you leave at the university. We want to be able to support you throughout the entirety of your degree programme and beyond, as lots of people change their mind throughout their career on how many jobs they're going to have in some of the industries. Now, I've wanted to give you a bit of a small introduction to what we have on offer here at the university, from more of a, staff perspective, but the whole point of today's session is that you don't want to continue to hear from me. You want to hear from the people that are currently living and breathing the experience of being a University of Leicester student. They technically are not at all briefed about what this is going to be, so you can go as crazy and wild as you'd like to in our Q&A forum of basically proposing some different questions that you might have for our students. Whilst you're trying to inform whether this is the right place for you, think about what's important from a question perspective, what type of queries might you have, and we'll make sure that we get those answered by our current students. So I'm going to get Lydia, Frankie and Ritvik to introduce themselves before you might want to target questions at specific people. So we're going to lose our slides because I want you to be able to actually see them when they're replying to questions. But yeah, please do make the most of the chat function and we'll get through. So you might not be able to see the questions that are coming through if you're actually in this live chat, so don't worry about that. We can still see them at our end. But if you do have the opportunity to ask any questions, please obviously do so in the chat. But in the meantime, I'll get them to introduce themselves, and then I've got a few to get you started around key themes as well. So we'll start with you, Lydia. Please introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. I hope you can hear me. My name is Lydia, and I am a final year medical student at the University of Leicester. I've been at the university for 6 years now, actually, because I did a year in between my 4th and 5th year to do a master's at the university, which I also did at Leicester because I just love Leicester so much. I am from Nottingham, so I moved from Nottingham to come to Leicester. I didn't want to go anywhere too far. I was mostly just looking at university in the Midlands area because I didn't want to travel too far from home. So I can always go home really often and like get some food or do my laundry at home if I need to. And additionally, throughout my time here at university, I've had the opportunity to volunteer at a local youth group in Loughborough, to meet like every Friday evening. Just been a really great way for me to increase my interpersonal skills, especially with younger people as well, and just serve the community in that way. So that's me.
Hi everyone, my name is Frankie. I am also a medical student. I'm 1 year behind Lydia. So I'm actually taking a year out right now to do an extra degree like Lydia was talking about. I'm also doing that here at the University of Leicester, and it's in medical research. And then next year I'll be going into my final year. I am originally from Cambridge, so not too far. And when I'm not studying, I like to take part in music events. So I'm part of the University of Leicester Big Band as a vocalist. And that's me. I'll pass on to Ritvik.
Hi everyone, my name is Ritvik and I'm a final year computer science student. I'm originally from Leeds, and outside of my studies, I like to take part in societies such as I was part of the Jiu-Jitsu club. So I like to learn martial arts, and Leicester has a lot of societies to offer for you to take part in outside of your studies, which I would suggest if any of you do come to Leicester, you make most of it.
Thank you all so much for your little introduction to yourselves. It's great to see that we've got such a geographical coverage of where you've come from. So I think kind of tying into that, I'd like if we could go back in the exact same order. So we'll go from Ritvik to Frankie to Lydia. If you could talk about what made you choose Leicester and why specifically your course, that would be something that'd be really interesting to share. Over to you first, Ritvik.
So I actually applied to Leicester via clearing. So when I was planning to apply to universities, I was really intrigued by Leicester because, like you mentioned, Hannah, Leicester is quite a diverse place to study at, and the culture, and it's a very vibrant city in itself. So when I came for one of the open days, I was really impressed by the facilities of the computer science department and how well they presented, and the student life that I got to witness when I was here on campus, which really motivated me to sort of apply to Leicester via clearing, because it was one of the best choices I could go for, which was available. And to study computer science, I've always been interested in technology. So when I was looking at all the courses, I felt like it was best suited for my interest to study computer science.
So I chose to study at Leicester for a variety of reasons, really. The thing that drew me to it initially was the teaching style that they use for medicine. If any of you are thinking about medicine, you might know that some unis approach the teaching style differently, and Leicester had a really engaging teaching method where there was a lot of group work and discussion, and there was a lot of sort of early exposure to patients rather than a lot of studying initially and then placement later. We're also one of the few medical schools in the country that still uses full body dissection to learn anatomy, and I thought that was absolutely fascinating. Aside from that, just the location of Leicester in the country is absolutely perfect for me. You really are not too far away from most things. And I found that a lot of my friends were scattered around the country at different unis, and it meant I could go and see them. I can go see my family very easily. So that really appealed to me. And then the other thing was that every year they do a survey of new junior doctors to see how prepared and they feel for their new role. And Leicester always scores really, really highly in that. And that was really appealing for me.
I don't want to repeat everything Frankie has said, but basically the same reason what Frankie said. That was the same reason why I chose Leicester as one of my unis to come here, but also as the additionally, Anna already mentioned it, but like it's very diverse. And me, I love food so much. So one of the things that actually drew me to Leicester was the fact that there were so many cultural cuisines around for me to go and like explore, because I'm a food critic. I am a level 4 on Google review thing. I am so proud of that because I always give feedbacks every single time. But additionally to what Frankie said, I'm also a fan of the diversity at University of Leicester, and that's one of the reasons why I chose Leicester.
Thank you so much for your honesty, and I think I'll be tapping you up, Lydia, for some of your local recommendations in the city of Leicester. And if any of you do come and visit us on campus, or if you come to study here and you see Lydia, you'll definitely know who to ask for the local food recommendations. Thank you for sharing that. It's great that we've obviously got a bit of a variety of different reasons, but you can see some themes about why students do choose to come and study at the University of Leicester. And hopefully throughout today's session, but also some of the other sessions you're going to join, you're going to be building more of your picture about why this might be the university for you, and making sure that you maybe provide yourself with a little bit of a checklist. What are the pros and cons? What are some of the things that you're really value or what you find is most important, ensuring that that university covers it not just from a course perspective in some of the subject sessions later on, but also in terms of who you are as an individual, what are some of your hobbies, and what can you continue to do whilst you're at university as well. Which ties in quite nicely to when our student ambassadors were introducing themselves. They alluded to different kind of extracurricular opportunities that we typically refer to as clubs and societies at a university. And I'd like to go to you, Frankie, to talk a little bit about your experience. You'd mentioned about Big Band as a society. And could you talk a little bit about how you balance getting involved in extracurricular alongside your studies?
Yeah, sure. So I actually am a relatively new member of Big Bands. I joined last year. And it's a really great society. I used to sing with a big band in school, and then I kind of let it go a little bit. And one of my friends told me about the auditions, and I went along. And it's really good fun. We play sort of all sorts of venues in Leicester City Centre, but also we play events for the uni. Last year we did an alumni event. We got to play in the background of that, which was really nice. So yeah, I really enjoyed doing that. In terms of managing societies and things alongside studies, that was definitely something I was concerned about when I started, especially with a course like medicine. I think a lot of people think that they're not going to have time to do that and it's all going to be focused around studying. And while obviously there is work to be done, everybody I know is in some kind of club or society. As long as you manage your time efficiently, there's more than enough time to do that. Have a social life as well with your friends. I've got friends that do everything from sports clubs to academic interest clubs to all sorts of stuff. I've done various other things alongside Big Band as well. So yeah, it's definitely one of the best parts of university, and there's definitely time for it alongside studying.
And can we pop on over to yourself, Ritvik, from a different side of a course, reflecting on computer science, where you do have fewer contact hours typically, to talk about your experience with joining societies and your involvement?
Yeah, sure. So I feel like societies are a very sort of, I would say, a key part of being at university life. So when you come to university, you're coming here to develop your soft skills at the same time, whilst also developing academically. So when you take part in societies, it gives you an opportunity to make friends, sort of get involved in activities outside of your course, and also at the same time learn some new skills. So for me as a computer scientist, I feel like getting involved in a society like Jiu-Jitsu really helped me sort of learn martial arts, because I've always wanted to learn it. But before university, I never had the chance to join a club like that. But university sort of has so many different societies for all interests in sports and active life. Like Frankie just mentioned, they also have a Big Band society for people who are interested in music. And so I joined the Jiu-Jitsu club, which helped me get my qualifications and develop whilst I was here at university.
Thanks for sharing that, Ritvik. And it leads quite nicely into saying that we've got over 200 clubs and societies at the University of Leicester. So although we've had a few examples of what people have got involved in the call, there might be actually a completely new society or a club that you've never experienced before that you want to get involved in. So Ritvik saying he hadn't been involved in Jiu-Jitsu before he came to university. It might be that you actually want to start your own society, and that's something that we actually can support through the Students' Union. There has to be a few of you. You can't start a society completely by yourself, because the idea is that it's a collective community. But in my time of either being a member of staff or a student here myself, I've seen so many different university societies being started, and that's a great part to see how our student community is basically providing opportunities for the student body and sometimes giving back to what the community actually wants and needs. So I'm going to hand over to Lydia to talk about a little bit about the fact that everyone's wearing red, and there's a bit of a key theme to the three people that are on the call being student ambassadors. So could you talk a little bit about basically what the opportunity is of a student ambassador, Lydia, and what it's provided for you whilst you've been a student in terms of part-time work?
Yes, being a student ambassador has been an absolute blessing as a part-time work at uni. Studying medicine, we're limited to like, I think like 10 hours like working, something like that. I can't remember specifically how many, but it's a limited amount of hours. But because our timetables are very rigid in terms of like first year, second year, and then third year onwards, we have a placement timetable, which is totally different as well. Because the student ambassador program is like 0 contract hours, that means I'm able to pick exactly when I want my shift to be. And there's always like multiple opportunities to do shifts all throughout the term, which makes it so much easier to pick up the extra amount of cash alongside your SFE and stuff like that, but extra amount of cash to do whatever it is that you want to do. And being an ambassador, there's so many opportunities to get involved. So for example, for me, I've been involved with events where I've gotten to show around year 6, primary school children basically around the campus. I've been in events where I've been able to deliver presentations and speaking to people. I've been to events where I've had to travel to another city to just help advertise University of Leicester and everything that it has to offer. I've been able to give the student life talk as well on open days. So there's so many opportunities that it encounters, and like I've grown in so many ways, but especially in my communication skills and speaking, which is so helpful for as a medical student, because most of all we do is just speaking anyways. But coming to university in my first year, where I was too shy to speak to anyone, didn't want to get involved with anything, to where I am now, I'm very grateful to say like being an ambassador has given like a big impact into where I've been right now, and I recommend it to everyone, and it pays well as well. I'm not going to lie, being an ambassador or becoming a senior ambassador as well. Senior ambassador does pay more, but I would say like go for it if you want to do, because it's just a very good way to just earn extra cash whilst being on campus.
Thanks, Lydia. Can we go over to Ritwik for you to share a little bit more about your experience with part-time work too?
Yeah, sure. So just to add on from what Lydia was saying, being a student ambassador is a great opportunity to sort of learn skills and earn money at the same time. And you get to do a variety of shifts. So for example, you get to do work on digital open days, but you also get to work on in-person open days. So over the period of summer, we're going to have offer holder days and open days, which is a great chance to meet prospective students and their parents. And you also get to do other jobs where if a school visit is happening, you get to take part and show the school kids around the university campus, do campus tours for them, and also do other jobs like during clearing, when a lot of students are looking for offers, student ambassadors get a chance to take part in that and sort of help the prospective students to get an offer to study at Leicester, which I think is really great, because it really helps you to get to know the students and answer them any questions, because you always find them, they're so nervous when they're coming to campus. So it really helps to be in a position as a student that you can help other prospective students who are in a similar situation where you were a few years ago.
And I'm just going to hand over to you to jump in there, Lydia.
Yes, there's also multiple opportunities on campus for part-time work as well, not just student ambassador, but you can also like work in the number of like restaurants or like open places that we have on campus, but also as well in the city centre area, there's so many opportunities for you to be involved in part-time work as well. So in my second year of uni, it was during COVID, so I had more time in my hand, so I actually worked as a carer, and it was a part-time work that I was doing. But this was an opportunity for me because it was like a local job that was going around. And also a couple of friends of mine worked as like giving injections to people. So just to say, there's always loads of part-time work around for you. And the student services are very, very useful in finding stuff as well. And also if you have any interviews or you're trying to boost up your CV in any way like that, the student services are really helpful for this, because that's what I did. Even for this job, an ambassador job, we had to do a what is it called? I can't remember what the name is, but we had to do like an interview style thing that I have never heard of or done before. And I was like, what the heck is this? But the student service were massive help for me to be able to get through this. But yeah, there's always help and support available for you to find a part-time job if you're struggling to find one.
Thank you so much for sharing your experiences there of, part-time work and how the experiences, but also the extra funding around being able to do things that you enjoy doing as a student, because obviously there is a cost coming to university, and things like the cost of accommodation and managing your finances and learning sometimes to budget for the very first time can be quite a little challenging or a new experience to overcome. So I'd like to go to you, Frankie, next, if that's okay, for you to share a little bit about, have you got any top tips around managing your money and budgeting for the very first time coming to university? And how maybe for you it's part-time work or other things have supported that?
Yeah, sure. So I'm not going to pretend I'm the world's best person at money management, but definitely coming to uni was a learning curve in terms of properly budgeting your money, especially after that first year when you're more likely to be paying rent, to a private landlord and managing your own bills and stuff, which is a bit different to living in student accommodation. I have always had part-time work throughout uni, which I found very manageable. I started off working in the holidays because you get quite long holidays in your first few years of uni. And then when I found that those breaks were getting shorter, that's when I picked up more casual work with the university. But I think, just keeping it simple, making sure you have a method for budgeting. It doesn't have to be crazy spreadsheets or whatever, but just having an idea of your incomes and expenses just means you can relax and you know what money you actually have to spend. But yeah, I think, if anyone's having any problems with budgeting or finances, again, there are loads of university support services available. I've used the welfare service at the university for advice before, and they've pointed me in the direction of various sort of grants and bursaries and things. Or, the university has pastoral support services that can help you out with that as well. So yeah, I'm not sure if I have any great top tips, but
Thanks so much for that, Frankie. I think you alluded to some of the support that we have at the university, which is always something we'd signpost both prospective and actual current students to. And we have a cost of living hub on our website that whether you're a current student here or you're considering coming here, you can literally just type that into Google, link to the University of Leicester, and you can explore our cost of living hub. And there are some budgeting resources on there if you did feel like you wanted some top tips or advice or just to start thinking about before coming to university. And there's another website I'd just like to signpost you to called Black Bullion. And it is a fantastic platform. You do have to sign up, but it gives you different tasks, and there's lots of blogs and resources on there. And we're proudly partnered here at the university and try to offer quite a bit of support through that external platform as well. We were talking a little bit about what some income versus expenses were, and I did just want to go out to ask people to basically share your experiences of living at the University of Leicester and your choices for accommodation. So Ritvik, could we go to you first to share where did you live in your first year and why did you choose where you lived?
So I stayed in Oadby, which is the village campus of accommodation at Leicester. I really liked Oadby when I came here to visit for the open day because it's in a very green sort of open area. So you have a botanical garden there. You also have another sports centre there, and it's like a little community of students that stay there. And when I visited it, I really quite enjoyed that idea of living there. The university also runs a free shuttle bus service for students to travel between those campuses because it's about a 15 to 20-minute bus ride. So there's a bus service that runs free of cost to students who do live in the Oadby campus. And yeah, I quite enjoyed my time living in Oadby.
Thanks, Ritvik. And Frankie, you obviously said that you're a few more years into your degree than just your first year and choosing where you chose to live. What did you do for accommodation when you weren't in your first year, and what support did you utilise for your second, third, fourth year, etc.?
Yeah, so I've moved around a lot, so I have quite a lot of experience of finding houses and accommodation in Leicester. I also lived in the village in my first year, and then me and a group of friends that I met there decided that we'd move out of university accommodation, which is quite typical. There's a big area in Leicester called Clarendon Park, which is sort of the typical area that a lot of students end up living. Not everyone, there's, you know, people live in the city centre, people commute, people carry on living in student accommodation, but it's a nice area where there's a lot of students there, and there's a lot of student housing available. So it's a great place to start looking. I found all of my houses just on the usual Rightmove and Zoopla websites. They have a filter where you can make sure you're just looking at student accommodation. I've rented from sort of letting agencies, which manage in specifically student accommodation, but I've also rented from private landlords with student contracts. You know, I think it can seem quite overwhelming at first, but honestly, once I found them through those websites, we just set up meetings, and a lot of them that deal with student accommodation know exactly the kind of things you're after and what you need. And also sharing that responsibility with friends and looking together, and you know, it can be really, really exciting. It was actually one of my favorite bits was, you know, getting a flat together with your housemates and living together. Having that independence is really enjoyable.
Felt like you were giving me some flashbacks and a huge sense of nostalgia there for me. But I think some of these experiences can feel a little bit scary or quite, you know, huge. They're big decisions. But as Frankie was saying, sharing that with people that are either on your course from societies or people that you've met from your accommodation, that shared responsibility and knowing that there's support through the university with some maybe guidance or best tips and questions to be asking and what to ensure is definitely correct is also part of our university support. And I think Frankie's just going to jump on. She's just going to mention something else in relation to that.
Yes, I just remembered that the university runs a housing fair, which I haven't personally used, so if anyone has the experience of it, but I've seen it advertised via our student emails that there's a housing fair where some of the local you know, agencies come and advertise the properties that they have. Sort of the bigger companies like Student Roost and Unite Students, I think they can advertise those properties, so you can access that through the university.
Wonderful. You learn something new every day, because I was not actually aware of that, and I'll be taking that forward. You both have talked there, Ritvik and Frankie, quite a little bit about the shared experience and what was important for you with finding accommodation and some of that sense of community, or, you know, feeling like it's the right place for you. And you mentioned earlier, Lydia, so I'd like to ask a couple of questions around this for you about, you said when you came here in your first year, how shy and young you felt. And I just wanted to ask you a little bit about the process of making friends, and how did you do that when you came to university for the first time?
Yeah, it was very difficult, I can't lie, because like I said, new young student coming into this big world since university to be. And I'm very much class myself as an introvert. So I'm not one to put myself out there into making friends or anything like that. And in my head, coming to uni, I was like, okay, I will just go to uni, go to my course, come back home. If there's anything going on in the evening, maybe I'll go to it and that's it. But I'm not like here for like any like social anything shenanigans and stuff like that. But like in the first couple of weeks, we had something called the Freshers Fair. And we also had like loads of events that the university/accommodation puts on in the evening for students. And luckily enough, I had friends who would actually drag me out of my room. I mean, they weren't my friends then, but like I already met them on the day when we started our course. And then they just happened to live in the same accommodation as me. So anytime they had something on, they literally like knock on my door, like, Lydia, come on out, we're going out. And if it wasn't for them, I think I probably wouldn't have been able to like come out of my shell as much as I did. But through the first day on the program, meeting people, and then actually going out to like the different events that the university and accommodation put on in the evenings for us. That was a way for me to meet new people. And I don't know, maybe there's something about me, but people just come up to me and just start telling me their life story. And that was just a way for me to just start speaking to people as well, because then I just start asking and probing people questions about stuff they were telling me. And then I just started to get to know people through that way as well. And then joining to societies as well was a useful way for me to meet new people and get to know people as well. But through all that, and I guess through interactions with different people, I was able to like build up my confidence in speaking to people and just getting to know people more. And then, of course, as well, like how diverse Leicester was. It was really amazing because all the friends I was making was so diverse. And again, I'm coming back to food. They all knew how to cook, which is also a great thing as well, because I was just having food from different cultures and background, and I was just like so amazed by it as well. But it's just really been a great time in how like my first year was to how it is now and how I've progressed through that.
Thank you for sharing that. I'm sure so many people will have found that beneficial, because it's unsurprisingly quite a big question that when you're maybe moving away from some of the comfort of your family and friends and your normal routine, how do you know that you're going to make friends when you're moving to a new environment for the first time? And hopefully a lot of what the student ambassadors have been sharing today are ways that they've found people like them and people different to them, but with, you know, common interests and such a variety of opportunities for people to come out of their shell, but continue a lot of the interests and passions. And that's hopefully a key theme that you're going to experience across any of your interactions with the University of Leicester. We're just going to start to tie up, and I'm going to actually conclude with our 3 students that we've got on the call, leaving you all, as hopefully we've got quite a lot of prospective students that are on our session today, thinking about the University of Leicester, are likely in their final year of college, or potentially you've got some parents and carers that are supporting you or your young people in that process. So I'm going to go to Ritvik, then to Frankie, then to Lydia, to just get you all to share what advice would you give to somebody who is maybe, you know, just ready to submit their application or has submitted their application to Leicester and is going to be narrowing down their choices. What advice would you give to them over the next few months, and ultimately why you think they should choose to come to the University of Leicester? Over to you, Ritvik.
So I would say, I know you guys might have heard it quite a lot, but don't stress. So I know it can be overwhelming at times, and it can feel like there's a lot of work to do. You can set in a bit of panic as well. But to just make sure you stay calm, you've done your research, you know, you've attended open days like this, like the virtual open day, and you kind of know about your department, you've done a bit of research on it, and just plan ahead. So, you know, there's no need to stress. So when it comes to sort of results day and sort of looking forward a bit, just stay calm, do your research, apply, and just be confident in yourself. You will get through it.
Yeah, I think I second that. Try and take time for yourself. Year 13 can be a really stressful year. In terms of narrowing down your options, I think what you're doing now, speaking to students, is the best thing you can do, because they're the ones that truly know what the universities are like, and you know yourself, you know what you like, what you don't like, and I think speaking to students can be really, really helpful. But in terms of why you should come here, I just think it's such a friendly university. Everyone is genuinely so nice, so positive and supportive. And I think you really get that sense if you come on an open day. I've always just felt really, really looked after here. So I think that's my main message.
Yeah, echoing what everyone says. It's easier said than done not to stress. But I think that one thing that really helped me in my second year of college was actually just intentionally booking time to rest. And that can look like a number of different things. So I know, for example, a couple of my friends we booked together to go to the spa, and that was a really nice thing to do. Or like just going to the park, or like even like, so I'm from Nottingham, and during like winter time they have a really like nice Christmas fair going around, so I was able to go to that as well. But being intentional with how you rest and stuff, like of course you need to like do your revision and everything like that, and also like plan what you need to do, but do it in baby steps. Don't do everything all at once, because it can become very overwhelming if you feel like there's so much you need to do. But just doing stuff in sizable chunks, just to make sure like you're able to manage it well. And then within the sizable chunks you're doing, also incorporating rest into it, which can just be really helpful in the long run, because you're not just doing everything all at once and burning out in the end. And then you wouldn't have energy left to enjoy your summer. So definitely doing things in sizable chunks. And why coming to Leicester? I don't know, Leicester's just a really nice city. I feel like it's so lovely, and like all the accolades that Hannah said at the start, with it being University of the Year and everything like that. But one thing that really drew me to Leicester was just how nice and friendly the people were, and like coming to an open day and coming to an offer holiday as well, and just seeing the environment in which I was going to spend my next 5 to 6 years in was really helpful for me, because I mean, I guess for me doing medicine, it didn't matter what med school I was going to go to, because I was always going to become a doctor by the end of it. But what was important for me was how those 5 years of studying was going to be. Was I going to be around people who were caring for me, who actually had my best interest at heart? If I needed help or anything, would I be able to go to them and be able to help to sort it out for me? And that's what Leicester has offered for me in the last 5 years, especially with the student services and the welfare services as well. Like, I can't give Leicester praises enough of how amazing the support is to the students. So I guess when you're narrowing down your options, that's one thing I'll get you guys to consider. Like, how actually are the university good in helping you support you as a person, as an individual? Because each individual is different, and what friends might be struggling with might not be what you're struggling with. But how does the university help you to deal with that best is something that you can use to kind of like shortlist what you're looking at.
I don't think I could have summarised some top tips any better than what our current students have shared, and I hope that you've got so much to take away and to think further about. So I'm not actually going to summarise with any top tips myself. I hope you've really been able to take away some really valuable food for thought from this session, hearing from our current students. I wish you the very best of luck when you're making some very big decisions over the next few weeks and months. If you want to engage with us any further, we've got a series of other sessions taking place for the rest of this evening. Hopefully you'll make the most of some subject sessions. Please refer back to your programme. And for those of you that were unable to post any questions into the chat, please feel free to send any through to our central inbox, which is study@le.ac.uk, and we'll do our very best to answer any of those questions that you have. Wishing you the very best of luck and enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you for joining us.